Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups. This is the weekly comic book review. It's the show I read a lot of comic books, and I let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. This week's pick of the week is Girl Scouts Stone Ghost, issue number 6. Now, this is the final issue of the latest volume of Girl Scouts. This actually makes book 4. Out of how many, I don't know, but I hope that writer and creator and illustrator Jim Mahfood continues to pump out this work. It is different, truly unique, wild, rambunctious, crazy, ridiculous, yet full of heart. 100%. There are a few comic books this week that are dealing with topics like grief and death. In fact, I'll be talking about one right after this. However, the way that it's handled here in Girl Scouts, right? It was absolutely amazing. Even if you've never read a Girl Scouts book in your life, you could jump in on this series because I was really confused when I first started reading this book. I was like, this is really far out and it seems very much removed from what I'm familiar with from Girl Scouts. Well, as the series progressed, I got more and more into it, started making more and more of the connections as to how it's related to the Girl Scouts and the outer world of said Girl Scouts. I love this book. I think the artwork is gnarly. It is awesome. It's got this like graffiti type style using real screen tones, great effects like splatter and things like that. The technique behind this story is amazing. And at the same time, the story itself is incredibly nuanced and at the same time wild as hell. Like just wild. This book is awesome. It's not going to be to everybody's taste. But if you like your comics a little weird, a little bit out there on the fringe, a little bit different, a little bit more bold, a little bit more daring, definitely check out Girl Scouts. I recommend all of the series, but the latest one, Stone Ghost, brilliant. Brilliant. The longer I was into this, or the more I was reading this series, the longer it lasted, the more compelling it became. Girl Scouts Stone Ghost, number 6. The pick of the week, that's from Jim Mahfood and Image Comics. We also get Ice Cream Man is here with issue number 29. This is another book that's exploring things about grief. So in this issue and every issue of Ice Cream Man is a one and done story. It's a little bit of an anthology. The stories don't really connect, but there is a little bit of connective tissue if you read the whole series overall. But that's not the point. This one is about just an average dude who has died. And it's about his friend kind of grieving him, and the Ice Cream Man's like reading his last will and testament. And what this is about is we've heard the old adage, you know, you can't take your stuff with you when you die, right? Well, that relates to more than just physical objects. It relates to like inside stuff, interior stuff, anxieties, fears, things like that. And so I really like how that was dealt with here. So if you like Ice Cream Man, you're going to expect something quirky, surreal, and a little unsettling, and that's what you get here. Definitely worth the read. Ice Cream Man, fantastic issue as usual. Then we got Homesick Pilots issue number 14. This is the penultimate issue of Homesick Pilots, only one more, and Dan Waters and Casper Wingard and Aditya Bidikar, they ain't wasting no damn time at all. They're not having like a calm or a quiet before the storm. This is high octane action and it's just going, and the thematic material starting to come to its resolution at the same time as the action continuously ramps up and up and up. I love this series. It's been absolutely amazing. A way to look at ghosts and grief and death and trauma and things like, man, this really, what's on people's minds nowadays? But I am loving it. Homesick Pilots, great artwork, great style, amazing coloring, great lettering. Homesick Pilots number 14, fantastic. Also from Image Comics, we have The Secret History of the War on Weed. By the way, happy 420, everybody. Station. The Secret History of the War on Weed. This is written by Jerry Duggan and Brian Posehn with Scott Koblish on the artwork. I was really looking forward to checking this one out. It is a satirical, ridiculous, funny approach to the war on drugs. It gives you a little bit of factual information that it completely just goes off the rails from there. And it's about this one-man army who has been assigned in the 80s to have a one-man war on drugs. And it is funny, it's ridiculous, it's a bit long-winded, it doesn't quite, it's not economic, let's just say that. But it was delightfully kind of interesting, right? It didn't completely win me over, but I'm glad that I read it, so that was a nice 420 type thing. From Marvel Comics, we have Captain America #0, just in time for 420. By the way, station, happy 420. Captain America #0, so this starts the new run of Captain America. It's going to be split into 2 different books. Steve Rogers is going to have his book, Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty. Sam Wilson's going to be Cap again. He starts here as well. They're both Captain America at the same time. Sam's book's going to be called Captain America, Symbol of Truth. This is kind of the launching point for that. And it was all right. It's decent, but once again, it's just, where do we fit in America? How can we represent this country that's never represented us? How can we? It's just the same damn thematic material over and over. I appreciate the usage of a nice classic Cap villain like Arnim Zola. Felt a bit off in character though. But all in all, there's not really much explanation given as to why Sam Wilson's decided to be Captain America again. But we all know why. It's because last year there was a show in which they made him Captain America. So, better late than never, I guess, Marvel, but of course they did it first. Captain America #0, though, it's alright. The artwork is nice, but the coloring doesn't quite work for me. There are certain pages where it just doesn't have the pop that it should because the art itself is rather pretty. So, Captain America #0, not a super promising start to the new direction, but we will see what happens. Then we got Hulk #6. This is going to be a big one. It's the first appearance of Titan Hulk. And there is the explanation given as to what Titan Hulk is. And I think it's rather dumb. And I think the story has been rather dumb. But I really like Ryan Ottley's artwork. I really like the dynamic flow of the story. And it's always just moving up. This one kind of puts all that aside and tries to get a little bit deeper, a little bit more intention. And it's not something that this book excels at. So to me, this has actually been one of the weaker issues of the series, and I think this explanation of what Titan Hulk actually is kind of dumb. But, you know, it is what it is. Doctor Strange, Nexus of Nightmares, issue #1. This is a one-shot from Ralph, not the Karate Kid Machio. Illustrated by Ibrahim Mustafa, friend of the show. Love the artwork in here. And the story's okay. Like, if you've never read a Doctor Strange comic, and you know that there's a movie coming up, or you got a kid, like I want to know Doctor Strange. This is a good first Doctor Strange comic for somebody, because it's a relatively simple story that also kind of retells the origin and all that stuff, and uses some of the characters and figures that are going to be featured in the upcoming movie, namely Nightmare. At least we all assume that Nightmare is going to be involved, plus Baron Mordo. So it was all right. I love the artwork by Ibrahim Mustafa. It's got this grounded, realistic type approach to it. The coloring doesn't necessarily always work for me, but maybe that's the printing that's being done here on the low quality paper. But the story, it's all right. It's not going to change your life if you're familiar with Doctor Strange. I don't know, maybe check it out just for the artwork, but overall, it's just kind of like baby's first Doctor Strange book. Then from DC, we have Nice House on the Lake here with issue #8. Yes, book 8 of Nice House on the Lake. I'm still liking this book. It's really exploring these relationships between these characters, their relationship to Walter, but now we're getting into Walter a little bit more through the eyes of some of these other people. So I'm loving this book still. Love the mystery. Love the way it keeps ramping up. We don't have much longer to go. We got like 4 issues left, so it's about to gear shift totally into the final act, right? But I did like this. I'm loving the artwork. Alvaro Martinez Bueno. The artwork in here is amazing. Those colors by Jordi Belair, top notch as well. James Tynion doing a good job with this story. And it was nice after, especially after the reset, to have things ramp back up so quickly. So it's all about to fall apart or come together, however you want to put it. Nice House on the Lake continues to be awesome. Then we got Batman Superman World's Finest issue #2. I like this one. I thought it was kind of on par with issue #1, though the story does get a little bit more of a cohesive direction, kind of focusing in on one thing. It was all right. It's a good kind of callback, throwback, if you will, to the Silver Age, or just some of those, you know, older comics from a simpler time or something like that. But it still has the complexity of the artwork of Dan Mora and the amazing, vibrant, flamboyant coloring of Tamara Bonvillain. So I really like this art team. I think they are one of the best. And the artwork pops. It's got this nice poppy, fun, vibrant type style to it. The story is okay. Maybe a little bit less Doom Patrol. But I'll tell you what. How about more Robin and Supergirl? Because there's a Robin and Supergirl dynamic in this that I absolutely loved and thought was a really cool kind of take on their relationship because you don't usually see them teamed up. So World's Finest number 2, it was pretty solid. Then we got Nightwing here with issue number 91, continuing the team up with the Flash, Wally West Flash, that's right. And you know, they're former Titans. And in this one, you just get the idea that Wally's just a really big fan of Dick's and trying to protect him. And it's interesting. I think the characterization of Wally's kind of fun and all that kind of stuff. But once again, it's not really doing too much for me. Like, I don't know. Bruno Redondo's not on the artwork. When he is on the artwork, it does have a style and a flair to it. Here, the artwork didn't bring that kind of a style. So it was all right, but it's kind of waning for me a little bit on Nightwing. Not bad, just not super great or anything like that. Then we got Batman the Night, issue number 4 of 10 from Chip Zdarsky, Carmine Domenico. It's all right. I mean, it's stories we've seen before. It's Bruce Wayne in training, going to some secret monastery or dojo or something and having to train to learn how to fight. Then they're like, oh, we're going to teach you how to kill. He's like, yo, I can't deal with that. He's like, off. It's like that Drake meme where it's like, we'll teach you Kung Fu. Hey, but you got to kill people with it. Oh, you know, it's that like that kind of thing, right? So, I don't know, been there, done that. So, the only purpose why I want to continue reading this book is I do like Dejan Domenico's artwork. And I also think that surely Chip Zdarsky, who is going to be a new writer on Batman come in June or whatever, surely there's probably some stuff that he's going to be setting up here, but I don't know. It's just kind of a retread of stuff that we've seen many times before on the screen and in the comics. Then we got The Flash, issue 781. This is an alright issue. It's a nice, cheap, kind of filler type issue, but it doesn't really progress an overall narrative forward or anything like that. But what it does is it does kind of put a spotlight on Wally West and his friendship, his relationship with Wallace West, who he keeps calling Ace. I don't get that bit. I don't know what's going on with that. But it's basically him taking Wally's taking Wally out for like a day to try ice cream and ask him to help him out and things like that. So it's all right. The artwork is really good and the pace of the story is cool. But when you get done with it, you may be like, all right, but I'm sure it's setting up some stuff to come. We'll see what happens. Then we got Catwoman, Lonely City. Amazing artwork by Cliff Chiang. Absolutely. The colors pop and they are great. I think this is one of the best colored comics on shelves this week is right here in Catwoman Lonely City. I'm liking the story more so. In the first issue, I thought some things were a little bit wonky. I've just kind of given into it. This is a little bit of a Soderbergh-esque heist type movie with an older Catwoman and her crew. This book has some touching and some tragic moments, but it does have a great flow to it. The artwork is amazing. It does get a little bit stiff at times in the writing, but at least for the first time that I know of, Cliff Chiang doing everything himself, including the writing, I think it's pretty decent. So Catwoman Lonely City, worth the wait? I don't know, but it was pretty decent. Refrigerator Full of Heads is here with issue number 766, and it's the final issue, and I'm kind of glad. It definitely did not live up to the legacy of the first one, Basket Full of Heads, which was written by Joe Hill. This one's written by Rio Ewers, and it's all right. The artwork's pretty decent, but it just doesn't live up to that original series. It had some nice, fun, kind of wonky moments, and to be honest, if you've been enjoying the series, I think you're going to like this finale because it's exactly what we want, which is apparently a truck with a giant chomping shark jaw on it, just tearing ass through monsters. But anyway, Refrigerator Full of Heads, it was fun, but not something I'm probably going to be going back to. Then we got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 91. It's actually Power Rangers number 18, but you know what? They're going to 100. I decided, you know what? Back on the legacy covers, got to fill in those gaps, and, you know, they're giving me a good jumping off point on Power Rangers because interest is waning a little bit. Like, I still like this book. It's still good, but at a certain point, I'm just like, where are they going to go with this story? This one just feels... I mean, it's all right. There's nothing bad about it. If you've been liking Power Ranger comics, I think you're going to continue to like them. I do think Power Rangers is probably one of the better ones right now because it's the one focusing in on the Omega Rangers. But it is, at times, a little kooky, and maybe I'm going to keep reading it. I don't know what. I'm just going through a crisis right. I'm going through all my comic books, and I just have way too many of them, and I'm trying to pare them down. And I'm just having a journey. But anyway, Power Rangers number 18, it was all right. It was better than the last issue of Mighty Morphin, I'll tell you that. Then we got John Carter of Mars, number 1, a new John Carter miniseries from Dynamite. Artwork's not going to be to everybody's taste. I like the artwork, but what I'm saying is that that's not what most people are going to be expecting out of a book that has a cover, for instance, like that. But I thought it was decent. It was all right. It's So on Earth, everybody thinks John Carter's dead, and then all of a sudden he's happy. He's with Deja. They got a kid, and he gets zapped back to Earth. He still has his powers at times, and everybody thinks he's dead, but now he's back, and they're dealing with that. There were certain things in the story that didn't connect. There's these new characters. It just didn't quite connect fully for me, but it does seem like for some reason some of the Martians are able to come to Earth and staging an invasion. So John Carter's on Earth with this looming alien invasion, but it was all right. I really like that cover. Then we got Dark Beach, issue number 1. This is from Behemoth. What's the point of this book? So this is what's going on. So this woman gets killed. This dude's like a news photographer, so he's taking pictures of her for the paper, and then he gets into trying to solve the mystery of her murder, and he's like tracking it down, but it's just like all over the place, a bit disjointed. The art didn't win me over, and by the end of it, I'm just like, moving on. There we go. From Dark Horse, we have The Collector, Unit 731. What did I just say about this? Disjointed and just didn't care by the end of it? That's what happened here. What is the story? The story is about these American POWs being captured during World War II, and they're like at a POW camp on an island. Maybe, I don't think they're in Japan, but they're somewhere in the Asian theater, and the dude's like experimenting on them and making them sick. And like, that's really it. Like, it doesn't, like, what? Like, what? You trying to hook me? You didn't hook me. I'll tell you that. And then from Scout Comics, we got Black Caravan Premiere canceled. I was kind of looking forward to checking out this book, and at first it was really interesting, but then it tries to get clever and tries to, I don't know, what's that thing where like a series of like never-ending waking, it was like a curse that Morpheus did in the Sandman book, where like you're having a terrible dream, and you wake up and it's over, but then something else happened, you just keep waking up. It's almost kind of got that kind of feel where it's like trying to be a little bit too meta and a little bit too folding in on itself, but the basic premise is this. This dude is a kid show host. He gets fired, so he kind of like puts a curse on the kids watching the show, but it keeps, I don't know, it's an interesting enough concept, and it was cool, but then it just kind of keeps trying to push and push and push, and it kind of lost me towards the end. But the first bit of this book, I really did like it. So that was a short, light week, and to be honest, I found a lot of it just kind of middle of the road, except for a really strong handful from Image and a couple from DC. But all in all, let's go back through it again. Canceled was all right. The Collector and Dark Beach was completely like, what? John Carter of Mars was decent, but the artwork could be attuned with the story a little bit more. Power Rangers, should I keep reading it? What's going on here? Should I just quit after one? Refrigerator Full of Heads, a little bit disappointing compared to its predecessor. Catwoman Lonely City had some of the best artwork coloring in comics this week. Flash is all right. Batman The Night, been there, done that. Nightwing, my interest is waning. World's Finest, not quite the finest comic on shelves, but pretty decent. Nice House on the Lake continues to be more than nice. And then we've got Doctor Strange. That's a good, like, first Doctor Strange book, especially for kids. Titan Hulk, stupid Hulk, I'll tell you that. Captain America, keeping the world safe from R. Kelly right there. Then we got Secret History of the War on Weed. That was kind of a fun little thing, but these three, those are the top 3 for the week. Homesick Pilots, Ice Cream Man, and Girl Scouts. That book was awesome. Not going to be a top 5 this week because we're super busy gearing up for the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. I'm going to be on stage moderating the panel with Kevin Eastman, so I got a lot of preparation to do. Plus, got all those comics out there, so don't worry. Top 5 will be coming back, but I'll tell you right now what it would be. Number 1 would be Girl Scouts. Number 2 would be Ice Cream Man. Number 3 would be Homesick Pilots. Number 4 would be Nice House on the Lake. Number 5 probably be Catwoman Lonely City. That's what I thought about what I read. That's what I'm digging. What are you reading? What are you digging? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And join me over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin' Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Station. Happy 420. Pop, pop, boom.